Have you ever watched a scene in a movie where a kidnapping happens completely out of the blue, like a bolt of lightning? Well, the terrifying truth we're uncovering in today's explainer is that real-world abductions almost never happen that way. They aren't random acts of spontaneous violence. They are calculated, highly organized criminal operations. But here is the really empowering part. Because they follow a strict structure, they can be dismantled. Today, we're acting as your security analyst to break down a tactical, spatial progression defense model. Think of it as a civilian counter-strategy designed to detect, deter, and defeat the organized kidnapping threat long before it ever reaches you.
Okay, let's dive into this defense model. We'll start with the anatomy of the threat, then move on to securing your home and digital life. After that, we'll look at community and school defense, tackle transit and defensive driving, and finally, cover captivity survival and escape strategies.
Section 1. Anatomy of the threat. To build our civilian defenses, what we call the blue team, we have to strip away the illusion of random crime and think like our adversary, the red team. Organized kidnapping is literally a business. These criminal networks utilize deep intelligence gathering. They study maps of your neighborhood, they monitor your daily routines, and they very often rely on insider collaboration. That means extracting information from domestic staff or maybe disgruntled employees. Their motives? Usually ransom, trafficking, or political intimidation. But by recognizing this as a structured enterprise that requires extensive planning and surveillance, you instantly gain the upper hand. You can actually spot the planning phase before the strike ever happens.
Section 2. Securing home and digital life. You know, you really can't protect your physical body if your digital footprint leaves a neon trail right to your front door. Criminals actively exploit social media data to track potential victims. Think about careless behaviors, tagging real-time locations while you're still sitting at the restaurant, or flaunting your daily running route online. You're basically doing the kidnapper surveillance for them. What we need is disciplined security. It's a simple shift. Delay your posts until after you've left a location, restrict your profiles to trusted connections, and hide personal location data. This completely breaks the criminal's ability to track you remotely.
Once our digital life is locked down, we move to the physical home. And we aren't just talking about cool gadgets here. These are vital layers of deterrence. Perimeter lighting, that eliminates the shadows criminals use to hide and watch you. CCTV and motion sensors act as your digital eyes, detecting a threat before it even reaches the gate. Reinforced gates and smart locks actively push the threat away from your family, forcing an attacker to spend precious time and make a lot of noise. And inside, having dedicated safe rooms and panic buttons ensures that if the perimeter ever does fall, your family still has an impenetrable fallback position while authorities are on the way.
But here's a vital reality check. The most expensive smart locks in the world will absolutely fail if someone carelessly opens the door. Technology requires human preparation. You need a rock-solid family emergency plan. Step 1 is establishing secret communication codes, a specific, normal-sounding word that instantly signals distress without alerting an eavesdropper. Step 2 is strict access verification. Nobody gets past your gate without confirming their identity. And Step 3 is practice. Coordinated family emergency drills ensure that in the chaos of a real emergency, your family acts on muscle memory, not panic.
Section 3. Community and school defense. So, we've secured the home base. Now we move our security perimeter outward, protecting our most vulnerable family members. Schools are prime targets, which is exactly why rigorous protocols are totally non-negotiable. It starts with secure pickup verification and strict student identification systems. A child should never be handed over to an unverified adult, no matter what story they tell. But it goes beyond just the administration. Students themselves need stranger awareness education, teaching them to recognize suspicious behavior and memorize emergency contacts. Combined with emergency lockdown drills and constant CCTV monitoring, schools become hardened targets that make criminal networks think twice.
Now, what's really interesting about this next part is that while isolated individuals are vulnerable, an organized neighborhood is incredibly dangerous to criminals. Forming volunteer community watch groups means there are always eyes on the street. By verifying visitors and coordinating patrols collectively, you eliminate the anonymity that kidnappers rely on. But the real game changer is Step 3, building suspicious activity reporting networks. When neighbors share intel, like a strange car parked on the corner for 3 days, and hold joint intelligence meetings with local police, they completely disrupt the criminal's planning phase.
Section 4. Transit and defensive driving. We're moving out of our controlled environments now into dynamic, high-risk territories like daily transit and highways. This is where kidnappers prefer to strike because you're isolated and on the move. Imagine this chilling scenario. You're driving down a highway, it's getting dark, and up ahead you see uniforms and flashing lights. It looks official, but your life depends on answering this exact question. How do you instantly spot a fake roadside checkpoint? Let's break down the tactical signs. You're approaching this roadblock, and you need to rapidly scan and analyze. First, look at the location. An official checkpoint is almost always on a visible, well-traveled route. A fake one is usually set up on an isolated road or near heavily wooded areas, allowing criminals to ambush you out of sight. Next, scan the uniforms. Are they standard issue? If you see mismatched gear, a lack of official insignia, or running shoes instead of boots, that is a massive red flag. Finally, check the vehicles. Legitimate authorities use officially marked security vehicles with radio equipment. Unmarked cars parked erratically to block the road, that's a clear warning sign of a trap. And you have to process all of that almost instantly. This timeline maps out the incredibly narrow window civilians have to react to a highway ambush. At 0 seconds, your situational awareness alerts you to the suspicious roadblock. By second 2, you are definitely not slamming on the brakes in a panic. Instead, you're checking your mirrors and actively scanning for an escape route. By second 5, you're executing a defensive driving maneuver to evade the trap entirely. Hesitation here is exactly what kidnappers count on. Knowing this timeline trains your brain to act immediately.
Section 5. Captivity, Survival, and Escape Strategy.
We have to calmly prepare for the absolute worst-case scenario. If the ambush succeeds and you are taken, the fight isn't over. It simply changes from physical evasion to psychological survival. So the crucial point here is that your mind is your greatest weapon. Panicking only escalates violence. You must remain completely calm under pressure and become a quiet observer. Maintain strict situational awareness by memorizing details, the accents of your captors, the smells of the environment, the layout of the room. This intelligence is vital for your escape. You're also preparing yourself mentally for the moment rescue authorities make contact.
While you wait for rescue, you are constantly assessing. Step 1 is continuously evaluating captor distraction levels. Are they sleeping, arguing, intoxicated? Step 2 is evaluating environmental risks and immediate escape routes. If you see a window of opportunity, what exactly is on the other side? Step 3 is critical. If you do make a break for it, you must know how to safely utilize crowd alert methods or distress calls. You don't just run. You run toward visibility and create a massive commotion to draw public attention, which is a kidnapper's worst nightmare. It's also worth noting that civilians today have an incredible edge thanks to modern technology. Mobile panic applications can silently broadcast your exact GPS location to security agencies with a single tap. Biometric identification tools and AI facial recognition make it incredibly difficult for kidnappers to move freely in smart cities. And real-time vehicle tracking systems mean that even if your car is taken in an ambush, command centers can track its exact movements and coordinate a rapid tactical response. We are not defenseless here. I want to wrap up this explainer with a really powerful thought from our source material. Awareness saves lives. Vigilance prevents tragedy. Communities become stronger when citizens and security agencies stand together. Preparation defeats fear. Organized kidnapping relies entirely on the element of surprise and the vulnerability of its targets. By mastering your digital footprint, hardening your home, uniting your neighborhood, and staying tactically aware on the move, you remove that vulnerability completely. You are no longer a target, you're a hardened asset. So ask yourself, if an organized threat began surveilling your daily routine tomorrow morning, would your blue team be ready to catch them?